Hey guys, Analogman back again for another late night deck profile. And so, as you can see from the title, we are doing D-Brigade actually. I actually got back into this deck, mainly actually because of the new cards that have been seen in EX03, which actually give the deck a substantial boost. And finally, we get new support. It's crazy how powerful some of those cards are. So I kind of wanted to see if the deck can even really do anything, especially with the new meta coming up. As of recording, we're only about a week and a half away from BT9, so it's just I want to see if this deck can even really do anything because I remember seeing in Japan this deck actually being able to top. It did actually get a few first place spots in Japan, which is really cool, especially in BT9 where there's Dexmon, there's Crimson Blaze, there's just so much stuff to get rid of your board. So I'm just like wondering how that even works. But in EX2, it is possible. This deck is actually really solid against Black War Greymon, against like just random other decks. It actually kind of works pretty well, surprisingly, which is weird considering that this deck has become obsolete according to a lot of videos that I've seen. People are saying that, oh, this is like just for memes, just it's like in the tier, like super low tier, like not even rogue. It's just there for the fans essentially. But I feel that this deck can actually take wins a lot, especially when people aren't really watching. Basically, like if they underestimate this deck, it can actually come up on them fast, especially with the new support from EX2. So let's actually get into the deck profile so you can see what I'm talking about. So first for the eggs, we're running the 4 Pagumon. AAs, of course, because I do primarily play black, purple, and yellow, so I like having the AA eggs for those decks. But this card is really solid, gets you a search, and plus, it's just really powerful in this deck. So having 4 of this is really important. But yeah, let's get into the rookies because they are kind of the main part of the deck, but because most of the D Brigade so far are the useful ones are mainly the rookies, which in this case are all the Commandromons. So first, we run 4 of the original Commandromon from BT3, still very solid card, 2 costs, lets you pass your turnover. 3 of the Commandromon from BT4. This one is still really powerful and really useful because if you basically end your turn by playing it, your opponent has to get rid of this. If not, you're basically getting another security check, and if they get rid of it, you can just search another one off of its effect. And in combination with Pagu, it's really powerful because you can get that and another card in your hand. Then we run 4 of the Commandromon from BT5 that is a blocker that does not waste memory whenever you swing. So you can basically go for a game with this sometimes, which is really nice. And it's a 4 cost, so it does dodge Ultimate Flare and other stuff that kills certain costing stuff. Then for the last of the Commandromons, we run 4 of the ones from the starter deck. This guy is actually really solid. I've actually been able to swing over a few things before using this guy, and it's really cool just how powerful he is. 5,000 actually is not really something to laugh at because occasionally you can kill rookies with this and small level 4s, so really nice. That's all for the Commandromons. We run 16, of course. We want to max out on it because it's a D-Brigade deck. For the other rookies, we're running stuff that kind of is just tech cards mainly. We're running 4 of the Hagurumon from EX1 because this one lets you basically draw 2, and you want to keep drawing in this deck as long as you discard a cyborg or machine, which is like half this deck, so really nice. Then I'm actually running 2 of the new Kakuamons. You can interchange this with Chumon and Chikurimon once BT9 comes out, but this card is really solid because it actually helps stop Ancient Greymon, which is one of the best decks in my locals. So I like having this to kind of stop them from getting early checks, or early big checks, basically. So I have 2 of this. And then I run, for my last rookie, 2 Chikurimons, because even if red does swing in, this will help the Digivolve it, which really helps. But yeah, we're running the 16 rookies plus these, so it's 20, 22, and then 24. So 24, so it's essentially a rookie rush deck in a sort of capacity, but at the same time, it has more power than a normal rookie rush deck because it can recycle itself and search more of itself, essentially, so it's much better. Uh, for level 4s, we run a very small amount. We only run the 2 Sealsdramon because it's our blocker, and then we run 2 Grumblemons, just in case if we already have a Tamer, we can swing in with this for game, especially if we can't close out games sometimes, which is very rare, but just having this in case is really nice. You don't ever evolve into this unless it's on the Tamer, so you don't really have to worry about it breaking your hand. I've never bricked with this. That's all for the level 4s. Then for the level 6s, of course, we're running the 4 Dark Dramons because Dark Dramon is still really busted. I've seen some builds only run 3. I max out on this, so almost every single match I've tested this, I've seen it in my hand, at least in my first hand or my second when I draw. So really nice. This card's really busted because it lets you just recycle stuff, and it has Rush. So you can swing, then evolve it into a level 7, which in this case would be 2 Zwart defeats or a Chaosmon. I will be fitting in Dexmons once BT9 comes out, so I'm going to have 2 Zwart defeats and maybe 2 or 3 Dexmons just to kind of even it out. But Chaosmon does come in clutch sometimes, so I do like having one copy for now until BT9 in like 2 weeks, but it's really powerful. But yeah, that's all the Digimon we run for the deck. Let's get into the option cards. For option cards, we run, of course, the 3 Prime Memory Boost. This card is still really busted in this deck, helps you speed up, and also allows you to gain memory on your turn. So I usually do this, and then I go into like an Ultimate Flare or something, and I just kind of swarm the board, essentially, which is really nice. Then I run 3 Ultimate Flares. People are kind of sleeping on this card now that security control isn't as big, but this card is still really powerful against a lot of decks, because if you just hard play this, you can ruin their board by DD-drawing their one big dude. And yeah, then of course, 2 Iron Fist Onslaughts. This card is still really solid to play. Same with Ultimate Flare and this, so I highly recommend keeping at least 2 copies in the deck. But yeah, we only run this amount. We only run 8 options, but they're all really solid options, and you see them usually pretty often, so it's really nice. Then for Tamers, this is where the deck kind of changes up finally a little bit compared to previous builds. You run 3 Kazus. If I had one more, I would play it, but I only have 3 at the moment, so it's whatever. But this card is really busted. The fact that at the start of your main phase, you just gain a memory if you have a cyborg or machine, which is basically this entire deck. So you're guaranteed that memory. And then whenever one is suspended, a cyborg machine, basically whenever you attack, you get to tap him and draw a card, which is really solid because you can potentially draw into, like, let's say you have Dark Turbine and you swing, you can draw into this, swing, and kill both their guys. So really powerful. Then you run 2 of the new Rios. Originally, I was running Izzy and Joe, but people kept getting around that, so I decided to start running this. And this card is actually really nice because it lets you search almost all of your deck, essentially, except for like Grumble and Chikuri and some of the weirder ones. But also the fact is that when you swing, you can tap this and permanently basically give that Digimon an extra boost. So if you swing with Darkdramon, you permanently make him 12,000 until your opponent's next turn, or until the end of your opponent's next turn, so they can't really swing over this as easily, which is really nice. Or if, for example, if you evolve into, like, let's say your Chaosmon, he becomes a 15,000 on their board, or in the case of Zwart Defeat, he's a 14,000. So they kind of have to figure out how to get over it, which is really nice. Then for the last Tamer, or last 2 cards, we run 2 Izzies. We still want to set our memory, even though we're gaining memory. But this guy actually does come in handy sometimes because you could pass turn and like give them 1 essentially, which is really nice. But aside from that, this deck is really powerful. It's worked actually surprisingly. I didn't know it would work out this well, especially with the addition of this, and this actually really helped the deck because now it has more search power, and it has a way to kind of just like get memory instead of just from either this tamer or through like other things. Especially the memory boost honestly has gotten me most games, so I like seeing it as often. I might bump that up to 4 honestly, but for now, this is how the build is, and it feels really solid. I highly recommend trying it out for yourself because I know people, especially other YouTubers. I'm not trying to call out anybody. I'm not going to name anybody. Just I don't believe personally that this deck is like the bottom ring of the tier list. I honestly feel it's like a tier maybe 2, maybe 3, like around that, like in between that. I honestly would say tier 2 because this deck has the potential to win locals, but it's just you just have to play it very well. You have to just kind of know the deck, and just play through know your matchups essentially. Um, I don't believe that it's a bottom rung. It is an amazing deck, and it's still going to this day. It's still around. So there's obviously a reason for it staying around aside from nostalgia for the deck being good in the previous formats. So I believe this deck has potential, especially in BT9. So I'm hoping this deck at least makes a few tops because I've seen builds of it topping in Japan, and I hope that it's the same case here. But you know, just check out this deck, try it out, and I'll see you guys next time.